Okay, but sorry, we had a good break. Hopefully you had some food and coffee. But I'm going to talk about the relocation aspects because I lived and worked in 5 countries, and I wanted to share my own experience with you, plus hopefully answer some of the questions. And especially, I think this presentation will be useful, especially for those people who are considering to relocate for the first time. What I'm going to be talking about in the presentation is that I'm going to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, and how we do it. I will tell a few words about myself, my own experience of living abroad, and I said with this presentation I wanted to give you, if you haven't yet lived abroad, more like a survival kit, what to do, like a steps, looking back how to succeed with the relocation. I will cover a little bit the business cultures, and then the final thing that I'm going to be talking about is that how I made my own decision about like living in Helsinki and why I chose the Helsinki, and maybe this could be an idea for you to consider. Be it I'm not going to be talking only about Finland, but generally, if you decided to go and live abroad. So first of all, about us, Games Factory Talents. You meet me, Leili, Anna. We are 3. Half of the team is here today. We're a talent agency that helps finding talents like you, helping the talents like you to find the best suitable position in the games and IT industry. We're based in Helsinki, in Finland, and we're a team that has the background in IT, games, and recruitment. Yeah, and I just wanted to say that we are based at the so-called embassy of the Finnish games industry, Arcade 5. It's a Maria zone, like a startup area. So in the office with us, there's about 25 game studios located. That's why we are called Games Factory Talents. What we do as a team, we organize IT and Game Shop Fair recruitment events once a year in different locations. We organize events in Helsinki, Kiev, St. Petersburg, Tallinn and Brno, very much looking into the Eastern Europe. We also run a job board, gamesfactorytalents.com. You can find it there. So we have about 30 open positions. So we also help the companies to recruit the talents and close the positions. We are also helping with the relocation. So if you decided to relocate and choose Finland, Helsinki, we are usually offering this to the companies, or the companies who were here today, they could also do it themselves. What we also do, we do outstaffing short-term projects for our Finnish companies, and today we're at the Syndicate at our partner's office, so usually we'll locate the people to work here. So a little bit about myself. I'm from Ukraine. Actually, my parents live in Dnipropetrovsk region in a small town. I was studying here in Kharkiv for 3 years before I was accepted to the master program, and went to Finland, to Jyväskylä, to do my master's there in mathematics and IT. And later on, so I was a developer very long time ago, but then later on I became a project manager, and then I also got a second degree in business. So I went to the Haga-Helia Business School in Helsinki already and graduated from there. My experience is with Nokia, so I spent 7 years in different actual locations in Finland, UK, China, India, and Russia. After Nokia, I was a consultant for the Finnish economic development agency that was helping the talented teams from abroad to come to Finland and set up like a game studio or IT company. I started my startup entrepreneur career in 2012, and I'm a co-founder and CEO of Games Factory Talents. So actually since then I've been mainly working as an entrepreneur, as a company, as a Finnish company. So now I want to talk something that I feel is important for you in terms of understanding before you decide to move abroad. And the first thing that you're going to experience is really, I want to talk about the culture. So what is the culture? Because culture as a word is very broad, and I think the concept is quite wide. But I thought about it and I thought, what does it mean for me? Maybe that means something else for you, but for me, and the way I think about it is really like the definition of the cultures is values, beliefs, norms, moral language, and religion, of course. So it's quite wide. My definition of cultures is just like a way of life, right? So today we're in Ukraine and things work in a certain way here. So this is the way Ukrainian business culture and generally culture works here. So you got like used to it. So in my opinion, it's more like a way of life. And then of course, living abroad, right? We all watch American movies. We want to go and travel the world. Of course, if you ask any person, would he or she like to live and work abroad? Of course, the response is yes, like definitely. And living abroad opens up the doors, brings you new people, like you get to experience these new cultures and things like that. But the big thing, what happens actually when you move to a different culture? If you got to a certain way of life here in Ukraine, it's not going to be the same anywhere you go. So things will just work differently. And what is going to happen to you, what has happened to me 5 times from the past, is this. I think this is a typical steps for the relocates. There's no word in English like relocates, but really for those people that want to go abroad, and especially starting from myself as a relocate. So first, it's a honeymoon, right? So you jump on a plane, you're going to a new country, you're going to start a new job, and you feel that, wow, this is amazing. I'm moving in, and it's a honeymoon. You're right. You know the meaning of the word. But what happens next is then later on, 1, 2, 3 months, there comes the frustration. I call it a homesickness. So for the people, because you move in abroad, you're starting something new and you start to realize that things work differently, or I'm missing how things have been like working at home. Of course, you're missing your friends and parents. So there comes the frustration. So after that, after the honeymoon is over, there comes the realization that things don't work the way you were, like you envisioned it when you were making that decision. Next comes the acceptance, and I think that's important because we are doing relocations, and we have relocated also quite many people. I would say over 30 people we have relocated to Finland, and not all of them stayed. Not all of them stayed, and I think the reason for them not staying was that I didn't make that presentation for them last time. Then that kind of motivated me to do it. But those people, that frustration, it's not gonna stay forever. It's going to last, of course, I can't say that it's going to be 1, 2, 3 months. It depends. For some people it's faster or shorter, but it's going to happen. But the next thing comes the acceptance. So that's important. This is the time when you move to a next phase, when you start to understand that, okay, well, the way of life here is this. And it's different from what you have experienced here. And you just have to accept that fact. And then, of course, the adjustment. Later on, once you come through this acceptance first, you might not like it. Of course, every culture has its own aspects, and you might not like it. And I haven't liked it in many places that I went. But then, once you accept it, the next phase is the adjustment. You start to appreciate things. You understand that things just work differently. And now, when you're moving in a new environment, in a new culture, you are not going to change the way things work. So you just first gonna accept it, and then you're just gonna adjust it. You will start to build on top. So you will start to understand that, okay, things work like that, but actually I can adjust. I can make these things work for me. When I talk about the frustration and what happens, as said, so that's sometimes, I call it frustration, and but the definition is a cultural shock, right? So that is usually the problem for the people to go to the next steps and not to return, is really to experience the cultural shock. And I'm going to tell you, so I moved 5 times, and I tell you every time I move there is this cultural shock. So you are not going to avoid it. So Finland, Germany, USA, Malaysia, China, it doesn't matter. Of course, if you go to China, it's going to be bigger, maybe, especially because of the language and the way it works. But my own experience of the cultural shock and what you should be aware of is that immigration versus the tourism, right? If you go to a new country, you visit a new city and you fall in love with the city and you think that, wow, this is the place, this is amazing, so I really want to live there. But when you go to live there, after some time you hit that cultural shock or that frustration phase where it's going to happen to you anyway. So what I'm trying to say that you just have to know it before you make that decision and really understand that things will work differently, but you just have to accept that fact, right? Not to change the things in a way that that you are accustomed, that the way things worked here. Most importantly is not to try to change the things or be frustrated about it, but actually take time and go with the flow, right? Don't try to, I don't like that word fight, don't try to change things, but just calm down and take some time. Just try to go with the flow without making big decisions in terms of, okay, well, it was an amazing city, I wanted to come here, now I came here, but in this city things don't work the way I used to, so I'm going to go back. So don't do it, just go with the flow. It's also very important that, of course, we speak Russian and like Ukrainian, I speak Ukrainian as well, and you get used to it, but when you move to a new country, I would recommend very much that in every country, and in Finland, you're going to find a lot of Ukrainians living there. But I think if you want to really to succeed and stay longer and enjoy the way things work and enjoy the life there, you have to integrate with the locals. Locals know the best how things work. Once you start spending more time with the locals, in the beginning it's going to feel a little bit weird, right? So Finns drink a lot. I don't drink much and things like that. And maybe I wasn't that fond of sauna when I moved there. So, but the good thing is that yes, when I started working, all of my friends were Finnish, and I had to just spend time. So it's like, yeah, drink more, maybe learn to drink more. And of course, we all know that wise saying, so when in Rome, do as Romans do. But to get to understand what does it mean to do as the Romans do, I would recommend you to spend time with the locals. Kind of maybe push yourself a little bit. I know some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, so I understand that. If you're extrovert, probably it's going to be easier, but if you're an introvert, I still recommend you that just accept and try to spend more time with the locals before you're going to find, these other Ukrainians living there. So, survival kit for the first timers. I don't know how many of you have lived abroad, but if you decide, and hopefully you come to Helsinki with us to live there. So what I would recommend for you today, you're here to meet the company, so you're all IT professionals. What I would recommend for you, so first of all, definitely the language course. So try to spend time with the locals, but also get to learn the language. It will open up a lot of things for you to understanding how people maybe think and why things work the same way. Well, I'm repeating myself, but try to find that local friend. It's going to take time, right? Friendship is not something that you can build or you cannot buy. So it will take time, but I feel that it's very important. And I got my Finnish friends from work. I have many of them, and we worked together a long time. Some of them actually, through me, got married to another Finnish, so it was kind of interesting experience. The way I did it, and the way I would maybe recommend you to do it, is just organize a housewarming party and invite the locals and try to find things that are common to you and to them, find the good things that you can share, the common interests in a way. Travel around the country, that's super important, so definitely don't stay in one place. I would say that get a mentor, because we are here with the company, so it would be super cool to find somebody in the company who you could share your feelings, or who could maybe recommend you something, or be more like an advisor. I would say a mentor, somebody older than you. And of course, grow your personal network. So don't try to only be friends with your, like if you're moving to another country, and I understand like you have a lot of friends here, so if you want to succeed in that country and then maybe move somewhere else, still you have to find the local friends. Don't try to be friends, only friends from your own country, because that's the way you're gonna go faster back. For the spouse, I think that's important. So a couple of cases that we had, not couple, one case was that for the spouse probably we didn't recommend too much. But for the spouses in Finland, definitely the language courses and integration courses. So I will tell you, and my wife is from Ukraine, which we met, and the first time I tried to pull her to Finland, I didn't do that presentation for her. But after 4 months, she like demanded that like I'm not gonna like stay in there. But then we came back. So we moved away for about a year and a half, and then we moved back. And then that was the time when I realized that there are actually the integration courses. She went to integration courses, and she told me so much about Finland that I didn't know from the past. She found the friends. She like built her own network. Now she's happy. She doesn't want to move anywhere. We have a little kid, and she's really enjoying that all the facilities and everything that is available there. Yeah, well, local communities. So she also keeps on talking to people from this Damashki Finlandia. I'm gonna say it in Russian, but and definitely something for her to do that I had to really push, because she's really an introvert, like versus myself being an extrovert. So I really had to push her to go to these local events, starting and going and talking to people and kind of opening things a little bit up. So yeah, so for you and for your spouse, your husband as well, so it doesn't always have to be the wife. I was analyzing a little bit what I could say about Finnish and Ukrainian cultures, and in my opinion, honest opinion, I would say that I think that Finns and Ukrainians are closer to each other than, for instance, Ukrainians to Germans, and even Finns to Germans. I don't know why, probably because this used to be, okay, Soviet Union, Russia, and things like that, but nevertheless, I think you will find it easier to work with Finns. They are warmly hearted, both in Ukraine, people are very open, and I think it's the same in Finland, but of course there's a circle of trust, so like that, people that you keep on meeting in your like day-to-day life. Definitely it takes time to build a relationship, just be ready for it. As I said, give yourself a little bit of time, but be patient, especially with the Finns, you know. It's going to take time there. You think, or we are always making the jokes about the Estonians, but Finns are kind of the same. We have a lot of anecdotes you of course know about Estonians, but nevertheless it's I would say the same. So they're different. It will take time, but once you get like really good friends, I tell you, they are going to be, it's going to be awesome. And of course building trust will take time and effort, and definitely keep calm and go to banya or sauna. I don't know how much you like it, but definitely that's something I think that is closer to us. Then I thought business cultures. So something that I see very different compared to Ukraine business cultures. So Finland, in Finland, the experience valued over the education. I tell you, the first job that I get in Finland, it was a company of about 20 people when I joined, a small software development company working on an amazing mobile projects for Nokia at that time, which was super cool. And imagine that when I joined that company, after a week, the CEO came to me and said that, you know, you're a first person in this company that graduated. that had a diploma, because of course I went to Finland to study, so, and we studied a lot with Anton. But yeah, I was the first person out of 20 people who actually did finish the graduation, so that was something interesting. In Finland, the flat organizations overcome this very hierarchical structure. So things are like people, even in Nokia times when I worked there, the CEO had the open door. So yeah, he was very busy, it was difficult to get him, but the doors are open. And the companies that were here today, I tell you, their CEO is going to sit somewhere like nearby, so you can really go and talk to him. So it's not like a boss. There's no boss in a way. Family time is valued and respected, and that's something that is very different. I'm staying at my friend's. We've been friends from like a childhood. He and his wife, they live in Kiev, and I'm coming over. So I tell you, in Finland, people come to the office early, and 4 o'clock, people with the kids, they are leaving because they need to pick up the kids from the kindergarten, and the evenings are usually for the family to spend with the kids. It's valued, nobody's going to force you, and it's okay that you leave the office before your boss, by the way. So flexible working hours, I'm pretty sure, I mean, you heard the presentations of the companies, so it's more about what you deliver, what you could focus on, and there's always this flexibility. People can work from home or something like that, but nobody's going to force you to come to the office and stay there these fixed hours. The more important is the delivery, what you're actually bringing back to the company. And this is something when I got a job at Nokia, after spending a few times in a smaller company, my boss came to me. Oh, I said no boss, but my manager said came to me, and we had a good discussion. And he told me this one thing that I keep on repeating to myself and also to my colleagues, and I wanted to share it with you. So in Finland, and probably here as well, but it's okay to make the mistakes, he told me, but it's not okay to make the same mistake twice. So failing is fine as long as you learn and don't repeat the mistakes. Helsinki, Finland has been ranked the second time in a row as the happiest country in the world, so it speaks about it. Why Helsinki for me? Yeah, so I don't know, well, like I feel pretty happy that I'm in Kiev today. I feel pretty happy in Helsinki, my family is there, but nevertheless, the things that I value and the things that are important to me. So clean and fresh air, so Finns are super focused on the green, like like environment. So all 100% of the trash is like processed, so nothing is left. And you can drink the water, tapped water, right? Воду из-под крана можно пить. And I think that's super cool. Culture is built on trust, and that's important. So in Finland, when you talk to somebody, if something is said, you can really believe it's true. It's free education. So I got 2 degrees from Finland for free. You just have to pass the exam. That's it. Great opportunities for kids, definitely. Education, healthcare, entertainment, and safety. Easy of commuting and being able to plan your day. So this is a picture from the city of Helsinki, and it looks like probably almost like it is in Kiev with the cars, but there's no traffic jams. Yeah, there's no traffic jams, and the public transportation works with the minute. So I tell you, that's true. What is important? How do I choose the?
About the last slide, they are going to introduce free public transportation, right? This year, next year in Helsinki.
I'm not sure. We have ladies from city of Helsinki talking about that later. We can ask, but I don't think so.
I saw the
I'll
news.
find out.
Find it out. Okay, yeah. let's talk about it. So, why Helsinki for me? Not selling you story or kind of. For me, what is important that it takes me 15 minutes to get to the office, and it takes me 25 minutes to get my kid to the kindergarten and be at the office. And I really value that and really like it. And also what I like that what is the fastest way for me to get the kid to the kindergarten and be in the office in 25 minutes. So it's bicycle. So that's my bicycle in the park next to the office. Next thing that I do there all the time is like, this is also my kid, like I'm leaving the office, so I keep on doing that, so it's available. So those things like bike and the rollers, that's what is super important for me. I couldn't do this in any other city that I lived before. So this was just impossible. And don't take me wrong, but it's not possible in Kiev. But with this slide, I am not telling that you have to go this way, but I would encourage you to think, how would you choose the city? Ask your question, what things are important to you? And then based on that, choose the city. It doesn't have to be Helsinki, but hopefully it is. And this is now, this is a little bit about Finland, so we made this some funny joke. So, and that's a true story. It's minus 25, it's snowing, it's a red light, no cars, everybody's waiting. Some things to know about. And Finns love their coffee, and they drink a lot of coffee. I think the most coffee consumption is in Finland, 2 or 3 cups of coffee. But you can see the face of French president when he tasted this coffee. So this was, and yeah, of course, Finns love their coffee and they think it's the best coffee in the world. But of course, by the impression of his face, it was all over the news. So I actually had to look at it. You pay for yourself. So this equality is really something special. So you just have to maybe be aware of it. So everybody paying for yourself. So I would say not everybody, but like you have to be ready for this maybe. And then of course this is I love the most, that everybody keep on like, what is the Finnish Christmas, right? You think that it's gonna be like streets full of lights and a lot of people, and the reality there's nobody there, because like a Christmas is just like a holiday. And with this slide I wanted to say a real story, and I'm going to switch to Russian. На моей первой работе я встретил человека, у которого отец или мама или даже бабушка была русская. Он хорошо говорил по-русски, и он никогда не был там ни в Украине, нигде, ни в России, но говорил по-русски достаточно хорошо. И мы как-то поспорили, мы сидели в сауне, я ему говорю, он говорит, он выпил немножко пива и говорит, что нет, вот я чувствую себя, как бы я не финн, я совсем не финн, то есть вот мы с тобой говорим по-русски, и я ему сказал, ты не можешь быть, ты все равно, ты культуру не понимаешь, если, тем более, что ты никогда как бы не был. И он говорит, нет, вот как ты мне можешь это объяснить? Я говорю, хорошо, смотри, я тебе расскажу анекдот. То есть funny story. Я, значит, рассказываю ему анекдот, что сидит Петька на рельсах, и к нему подходит Василий Иванович и говорит, подвинься. Он начинает улыбаться. Я спрашиваю, ну, теперь объясни мне, как ты это понимаешь. Он говорит, а зачем же ему двигаться, рельсы-то 2? И в этот момент я просто не знал больше, что сказать. Я больше с ним на эту тему как бы не поднимал вопрос. Да, вот такая была у меня интересная история. Sorry about that. It would not be possible to translate it, because it was a Finnish guy that spoke Russian. I told him the story that we think differently about it, and this was just amazing. But this is me, Oleg. I'm from Games Factory Talents, as I said. You can send me a message, and please come talk to me today. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And I think the presentation was supposed to be 20 minutes, now it's 30. But I'm happy to take any questions.
Oleg, can I ask you a question about mentality, Ukrainians or Russians or European people, not Finnish, but all Europeans? You know, I had the experience, I met a lot of European people, and from States I sold my art. And when I came 10 or 15 minutes before and asked, excuse me, please, I came a little before this earlier. they told me that that's okay for us because all Ukrainians are used to be late in half an hour, even an hour.
Well, I mean, you go to Spain and nobody's going to be on time, so. But this is a good question. I think in Finland it's actually don't be late. People take it a little bit, especially in the business meetings, they are taking this a little bit, I would say, insulting because they think that you're like stealing their time. Like I'm waiting for you and you're late, so kind of, so like rather come early. So yeah, but this is a good question. So I would say, I can't say about the rest of the Europe, but of course, like I would say the Southern Europe, if you're late, that's fine. You're going to be late yourself. But in Finland, yeah, people like to appreciate.
Scandinavians, German, English.
Yeah, don't be late. Yeah. Well, maybe with your friends. I mean, of course, if you're coming to the party, you can be late. But if it's a business-related meeting, so yeah, you rather not be late. Yeah, people think that. Not people think, but like I spoke to one Finnish guy, and he told me this: that I think that you're still in my time. That I'm just sitting here and waiting for you. So rather be on time.
Like, what kind of things you had got used to in Finland?
That people don't talk on the tram. It's just silence. I don't know. It's maybe, but I need to think about it. I can maybe answer later. Kind of food. My wife, they drink a lot. Yeah. On Friday. They drink, but they don't fight.
They talk after they drink. That's the way to get famous to talk.
Yeah.
Like hardest thing to adjust, winter?
Bad coffee.
Bad coffee?
Yeah. Bad coffee, yeah, maybe.
You said something about the integration courses.
Yeah.
In different countries. In short, what happens with that?
It's usually for the spouses. I've never been myself, so because I was always working, maybe that's bad, so I didn't know that much. But it's a course where they teach you the basics of the language. They teach you some history. They tell you a lot in depth about the culture. Like I'm going to tell, because now my wife was taking these courses at Helsinki, so and then they took them to these different organizations and showed them where to apply for this and that, how to do this paperwork and things like that. They give the number and stuff like that.
Like a formal meeting somewhere. Yeah?
No, it's like a course. So it was once or twice per week, and they were spending there almost like the whole day, like a group with probably they were about 15 people, and like a real course, like integration course. I don't remember how long, maybe a month or two that it lasted, but she got everything figured out, all the papers and things like that. Yeah.
Oleg, when you arrived to University of Jyväskylä, you had 2 weeks integration course, right?
Yeah. I don't remember it now.
You're already learning this drinking part.
Well, I mean, when we were students.
That course, like 2 weeks integration.
You didn't see him.
I don't.
No, we go in different years.
It's clear about interpersonal relations. What about your relation between you and government? Like you stay immigrant for a lot of years, or it takes about half a year and you're almost like a citizen? What about it?
I tell you that in Finland, if you start working, you are getting that residence permission. So the only thing that you can't do is to vote unless you get the passport. Yeah, like later on. But the rest of things it applies. So no problem. And I can tell you that now when my wife went to these integration courses and did all of the papers, so she was paid for it. So she was getting that governmental support. Yeah.
What happens if you're losing your job or just leaving your job with that permission?
I mean, You will anyway have some sort of like securities, like a social benefits in terms of like finding like time to find the job. You could also go to the unemployment office and they will tell you everything. So they could also send you to some improvement courses and things like that, and you will be getting the money. Yeah. The reason why I would say there is no crime and maybe it's safety in Finland, it's like they call it a welfare society. That means that there's no people, there's no homeless people. So they found the government pays the it's you will have to pay like the tax, but you understand what it meant most. So there's no people living on the street. So they don't put these people to live in the city center for sure, but definitely, and they cover their costs and of living and things like that. So if you lose your job, they're going to support you for some time. But even if you're not a citizen, yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, like today we brought the companies here because they are missing these people, so I wouldn't be like worried about that. And I tell you, because we also work quite a lot with the games companies. Unfortunately, we didn't bring any with us today, but I tell you that in the games industry, it's way over 30% of the people working in the games industry are foreigners. And if you consider that there's only 3,000 people working total in the games industry, so 1,000 is from abroad. So that's quite a lot. So I would say that if those people leave, that industry is going to die out. So I wouldn't be worried about that. You're not taking anybody's job, you're actually joining this society. Look, I think we need to move on with the program, but thank you very much, and I'm gonna be staying here, so you can ask me questions.